Okay, so I am shooting this video the same day as I did my my dream one. So after I did the dream one, it kind of left me in a serious kind of mood. And I think I'm actually going to do a story time of how I almost got kidnapped. I guess let's get started. Before we start, this video is going to be a more serious type of video because this was a very traumatic experience in my life. And I know that I was very lucky and my whole life could have been changed on this day. So, and with that, let's begin. So, my story opens on February 5th, 2018, and it was a 2-hour delay because we had this huge ice storm the night before, and the roads were really hard to drive on for the buses, so we were just going to wait for 2 hours. And I remember I woke up probably at 8 o'clock, and I decided to go outside and take pictures before. I remember I was taking pictures on my phone because I didn't want to bring my camera because it was close to time for the bus to come. So it was probably like 9 o'clock when I went outside. So I went outside at 9 o'clock and I was taking pictures on my phone. And at the time, my phone did this thing whenever it was freezing cold, it would just die randomly. Like, no matter what battery percentage it was on, it would just die. So I remember I was taking pictures, and I still have the last picture that I took. And I remember I was taking pictures, and then as soon as I took this picture, it just died. And I'm like, okay, well, I was home alone at the time. And I don't know what time it is. So why don't I just go, this is the last picture I took. It's like grass. It's ice grass. Something stupid. So my phone dies and I'm like, I don't know what time it is. I should just head down to my bus stop now. So this is a map of what is happening, okay? So, right down here, this is my bus stop. This is a trailer, and this is like their shed thing. So, I'm like in their driveway. This is my bus stop. So, this is my house. So, I have to walk out of my personal driveway and down to this. And this double line right here. This is the main road. So, I'm pretty close to the main road because that's where my bus comes. So I remember waiting down there, and I guess I was just standing there, and then this red, like, 4-door car, I still have no idea what brand, or I don't know what it's even, I don't know anything about cars. I don't even know what make or model it is. There we go. I don't even remember what make or model it is, and I remember it was just like an old, beat up red, like, it wasn't like a bright, vibrant red either. It was like a dusty, like, red car. Like, they pulled up. So, they came off. Oh, come on. So, here, yeah, let's do it this way. Okay, so, they came off of the road and pulled into, like, the main drive here. This main drive. So, they pulled into the main drive right off of the mailboxes. And they were just sitting there. And I remember just like thinking like, okay, this is totally normal. Most people just like wait until traffic pass and then they back out and they turn around. They're probably just turning around like a road's closed or something because of the ice and they have to turn around. So I remember not thinking anything of it. And I remember just sitting there, or standing there basically. And I remember looking at them. And there was 2 guys in there. One of them was wearing a gray beanie. I remember it felt like forever that they were just like sitting there and staring at me. So So I started to feel really uncomfortable. And I'm just like, okay, let's just be better safe than sorry. So I start walking back to my house. I start from here and I start walking back up. And I go into my personal driveway and I go into my house. And for my house, it has like a little, like a mudroom kind of thing. So I was inside of the mudroom and I was trying to get my key to work. And I remember I just couldn't figure out how to open the freaking door. And I have like a gravel dirt road, like the main road for our road. I remember like the gravel dirt road and I heard tires crunching on it. And I'm just like, are they following me? So I look out of the blinds and I remember seeing them and they were in like our personal driveway. They were here instead of down here. So they came up and they were in here. So I remember I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, this is freaking out. Like, I don't have a phone. I can't call anybody. Like, I don't know what to do. So I decide to lock the door. And I'm sitting in there. And I'm just like, okay, maybe they'll just leave. Like, what if they just leave? And I remember thinking, I'm like, okay, well, what if I act like someone's home or something? But I remember they could see me through the blinds when I was looking at them. So I remember they already know that I was in there. So I made this stupid decision to walk out of my mudroom and just run for it. I didn't know what else to do. Like, I was terrified at the time. I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know why they're following me. What do they want with me? So, here, let's draw. Okay, my house has, can you see this? My house, these are all these squiggles. These are all pine trees, okay? So, we're going to turn it this way. And, okay, so I am in right here. I'm right here. And I remember deciding to run out of here and, like, run into my pine trees. So, it looked like I ran through this field and down to my neighbor's. But I remember I just stopped at the pine trees, and I was, like, in between the pine trees. And there was, like, somewhat snow, so, like, there was also, like, coverage, too. But, like, I also, like, stood out like a sore thumb, because I remember I was wearing this camo sweatshirt, and it had a hot pink hood. So I remember thinking, I'm like, what if they see, like, the hot pink or something? So I rolled up my sweatshirt and, like, stuck it in the back, so, like, they couldn't see me. And I put my backpack on my back. And I remember just, like, waiting there. And then I was, like, watching them in my driveway. And they finally came out of my personal driveway. And they headed down this road. And there's a really hard turn right here. So they stopped at this turn and they got out. So I remember thinking, I'm like, okay, like, this might be my chance. Like, I can do it. Like, they went into the woods. If I run down and if I catch the bus at, like, a good time. So I remember I'm climbing to the top of this pine tree. Because if I climbed to the top of the pine tree, I could see over my house. And there's, like, a valley. And then at the very top, that's where my bus would come. So I remember I'm at the top of the pine tree. And as soon as I see my bus, I, like, jump down. And I book it. Like, I run through this icy field and I hide. Okay, so remember my bus stop, right? I was right here. So I run from, like, this pine tree and I book it through the front field. And then I go to this shed. This is a shed right here where this X is in the square. I hide on this side of the shed, so I face the road, but, like, the people up here, if they come out, they can't see me. So I remember facing the road. My bus gets there, and I run on the bus, and I sit down, and I'm, like, looking, and I'm just like, I'm not even speaking to anyone. And I remember just sitting there, and I'm like, I got away. Like, I'm safe now. I'm going to school, and they won't find me. But then I'm like thinking on the bus, I'm just like, what if they follow like my bus? Like, what if they know what bus I'm on? Like, how long have they been watching me or something? All that's going through my head. And I get to school, and I'm finally like realizing what happened, and I'm telling my friend what happened in first period, and my teacher overhears me, and she's like, you have to go to the office and you have to say that you saw suspicious activity and they'll know what to do. So I remember I go to the office, and they're like, oh, like, he's in a meeting right now, he'll call you as soon as possible, like, we'll call you back. And I'm just like, okay. So I'm like terrified to go outside anymore. I'm like, how am I supposed to leave? Like, absolutely terrifying. So the whole entire day I'm like paranoid. And in second period they call me down, and he pulls me into his office and he's like, tell me exactly what happened. I tell him the story, and he like writes a full report, and he has, I think, no, that was, okay. So he writes a full report, and he's like, okay, I'm going to talk to the police, and like, we'll call you back down if we need you anymore. I'm like, okay. So I continue on my day, and I think it's like later in the day, like period 7 or 8 or something like that. They call me down again, and this time there's a police officer, my principal, and my dad there. And we're all talking, and they're like, you weren't at home? And my dad's like, no, I wasn't at home, I was at work, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, you don't know what this red car is? And he's like, no, and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, you didn't catch the license plate? I'm like, no, like, I and then, like, they asked me, like, why I didn't take a picture. I'm like, my phone was dead. I was telling them the whole story about that. And then I go home. I think my dad drives me home because it was, like, really late in the day. So he's like, I'll just drive you home. Like, I don't want you to ride the bus. Like, I don't feel safe with you riding the bus. So we drive home, and I remember he's like, okay, someone from the state police is gonna come, and they're gonna like take your report, and they're gonna try and figure out stuff, and they're gonna investigate. And I'm just like, okay. So I remember coming home, and I remember just sitting on my couch and just waiting for this guy to show up. And doorbell rings, he opens, and this really tall cop comes in, and he like starts asking me what happened, blah blah blah, like what happened, where was the car. And he's like, okay. And then he starts talking to my neighbors, and I remember he comes back and he pulls my dad outside and he starts talking to him. And then when he comes back in, I'm like, what did he say? And he's like, well, since they didn't really come in contact with you, he can't really do anything. He's just gonna write it up and like see what happens, and like if it happens again, then like it'll move on further. I'm just like, okay. And he's like, he told me that the guys were probably sex traffickers or people looking for kids to sex traffic. I'm just like, great. He's like, yeah, it happens a lot on snow days or like 2-hour delay days, because kids are usually like out later and stuff, and parents aren't usually home or whatever. So I'm just like, I could have died. I don't know what could have happened, but like I'm super lucky. Like, I don't know, I guess my dumb decisions of running to Pine Tree like kept me safe, and I don't know, it was terrifying. So I remember my dad posted something on Facebook of like red 4-door car, 2 men, and like their descriptions that I gave. And I remember like he put that out on Facebook, and all my friends were like, this is your address, was this you, like, are you okay, blah blah blah. I'm just like, yeah, I'm fine right now, like. And then yeah, it was terrifying though. I'm happy I'm safe, and I know that others aren't as lucky as me, and I'm really sorry for those people. I couldn't imagine what would have happened if they caught up to me. I couldn't imagine what would happen to my family, you know? Like, there's crazy people out there. But I mean, who knows? Like, they might not have been even after me. Like, they might have been looking for an address. I don't even know. I've never even seen them before in my life. So, I don't know. It was a terrifying experience. So, because of that, I'm no longer allowed to go down to where my bus stop normally was. I have to stay in my personal driveway behind either one of our vehicles or our boat, and stay out of view until I can see my bus, and then I have to run down to my bus because I'm not waiting down there. And even when I'm walking down to like get the mail or something, like, it's still a scary experience, because I remember I had a panic attack once. I was walking down to the mail, and our neighbor who like lives farther back, like past the curve, he was coming home, and I was walking back, and I heard like the sound of tires on the gravel, and I turn around and I see like his truck, and like my heart was pounding so fast, and I thought like someone was like after. I don't know, I'm so paranoid because of that now. But like, that wasn't even the first time that has happened to me, that I almost got abducted. Like, you know, like, it happened to me at the beach too. And I mean, I guess like I could make like another video about that time too. If you watch, I don't remember what, I'm crying because I'm like remembering everything. I don't remember what day it was on, but it was one of my 2017 North Carolina beach trips. I was with my friend, and I'll link the video down below. But I remember I had the camera like during the whole entire thing. I remember as soon as I turned it off, that car was there, and it was a whole thing. So I could go deeper into that if you want another video on another kidnapping, but yeah. So, but also, like, if you see something suspicious, or like if you live somewhere and you see a car that's like always there, like always like circling around your house or some other houses, like, speak up and like tell police. So, like, I don't know, like, I'm forever changed by that, and I'm truly sorry to those who have lost someone through abduction, and it was an awful time. So anyway, thanks for watching. I guess see you guys next time.